Hi everyone, it's Miss O'Donnell. So today we're going to be starting our new standard called equation of a circle. So we're still going to be talking about circles, but now instead of solving for angles or area or arc length, we're going to be writing the equation of a circle. So we're going to be taking circles and putting them on a coordinate plane. So first let's back up a second and talk about lines on a coordinate plane. So if I were to draw this line, it would have the equation y equals mx plus b. So you might have learned this in algebra. We're also going to talk about this a little bit later. But any line, any straight line I draw on a coordinate plane, I can write the equation y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So if I were to count the rise over run, this is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the slope is 3/5. The y-intercept is -2. So if I wanted to graph this line, it would have the equation y equals 3/5 x minus 2. So we're going to use the same idea, but instead of lines, we're going to write the equation of a circle. So if I gave you this circle here, we have to be able to write an equation that would represent this circle. So let's think about circles for a second. Circles have two main parts. So the two main parts of a circle are the center, which is the spot directly in the middle of the circle, and the radius, which is the length from the center out to one of the edges. So those are the two things that all circles have. So let's try to find those for the circle. So we want to find where in here is the exact center of my circle. So here's how I like to find it. I like to start at my bottommost point. So this point right here, 4, -1, is the bottom of my circle. And I'm going to count straight up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my circle has a height of 6, so I want to find halfway. So halfway would be 3. 1, 2, 3. So this point right here is the center of my circle. That's going to be 4, 2. So you'll remember that coordinate planes have an x-axis and a y-axis, and our coordinates always go x, y. So I went +4 on my x, 2 on my y. So the center of this circle is at 4, 2. Then I want to figure out how long is the radius. So the radius is going to be how long is it from the center out to one of my points. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. My radius is 3. So given this circle, I know my center is at 4, 2. My radius is 3. So we're going to use that information to write the equation of a circle. So first I'm going to give you just the formula, the basics, just like y equals mx plus b. I'm going to give you what the equation of a circle is. So that's going to be r squared equals x minus h squared plus y minus k squared. That is a lot of letters. So we're going to break this down. I'm going to tell you what each of those letters mean. So just like in y equals mx plus b, the y and the x are always going to stay the same. So I'm not going to do anything with x or y. So let's look at r, right? So think for a second, what do you think r represents? All right, hopefully you thought radius. So our r is just our radius. So right here, our radius is 3. So now we got h and we got k. So we said the two main parts of a circle are the radius and the center. So that h and k is going to represent our center. So h comma k is just our center coordinate. So here, the 4 is h, the 2 is k. So h comma k is 4 comma 2. So we've got our radius is 3, our center is 4, 2. We're going to plug those numbers into our equation. So for r, we're going to plug in a 3. For h, we're going to plug in a 4. And for k, we're going to plug in a 2. So now we've got 3 squared, r squared, equals x minus 4 squared plus y minus 2 squared. So we're almost done. We've got only one more step. We can't do anything here with the y or anything with the x, but we can square 3. So 3 squared is 9. So our final equation for this circle is 9 equals x minus 4 squared plus y minus 2 squared. So what your problems are going to look like is I'm going to give you a circle. You're going to have to find the radius and the center and plug it into the equation. So your final answer when I say what is the equation of this circle is 9 equals x minus 4 squared plus y minus 2 squared. All right, so let's see what that's going to look like. So here's a circle, a new circle, and I want you to write the equation for this circle. So here's how you should think about it. There are 3 things we need to think about. 1, what is the equation of a circle? 2, where is the center of this circle? And 3, what is the radius? So our equation of a circle, r squared equals x minus h squared plus y minus k squared. Where's our center? So we start with our bottommost point right here. Count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So half of that would be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our center is going to be right there at negative 2, 1. And then what is our radius? So I start at my center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our radius is 5. So we got our equation, we've got our center, we've got our radius. So now we plug it in. Our radius is 5, so I've got 5 squared equals x minus, h is negative 2, so I have x minus negative 2 squared, plus y minus, k is 1, y minus 1 squared. So I took my equation, I plugged in r, I plugged in h, I plugged in k. So something you want to notice here is I always have minus. So my equation is minus h and minus k. So we always start with our minuses. If we have a negative number, we now have minus negative 2. All right, so we're going to simplify. 5 squared is 25. And now this is not proper. So minus a negative, we can't leave it like that. So minus a negative always changes to a positive. So my final equation is 25 equals x plus 2 squared plus y minus 1 squared. So if my coordinate is negative, see how my x is a negative 2, I'm going to end up with a plus. So it's going to be the opposite. If my coordinate is positive, like this positive 1, I'm going to end up with a negative. All right, so that's a little bit tricky. So make sure you do it one step at a time. Write down your equation, find your center, find your radius, plug them in, and then simplify. All right, so let's do another example. So we want to find the equation of the circle. We're going to think about our 3 questions. What's the equation of a circle? Where is the center? And what is the radius? So our equation of a circle is r squared equals x minus h squared plus y minus k squared. My center is pretty easy to find, right? There's only one point in there, so my center is going to be right there at negative 6, negative 5. I got this because I went negative 6 on my x, minus 5 on my y. My radius is going to be 1, right? There's only 1 unit from my center out to the side. So now we're going to plug in some stuff. We've got our equation, our center, our radius. So I'm going to plug in 1 for r, negative 6 for x, negative 5 for y. So I've got 1 squared equals x minus negative 6 squared plus y minus negative 5 squared. So I'm going to simplify. 1 squared is 1. My minus negatives are going to turn into pluses. So my final answer, my equation for this circle is 1 equals x plus 6 squared plus y plus 5 squared. All right, so if you're writing notes, some things you might want to write down to use for your problems. Equation of a circle, r squared equals x minus h squared plus y minus k squared. Make sure you write that down somewhere. That's going to be pretty tough to memorize. R represents our radius. H comma k represents our center. And another big trick to remember is that if the center coordinate is negative, minus negative turns into a plus. All right, so if you have any questions, make sure you email me or join me for office hours.